Mm. Two, still two.
Okay, I'll just check this one, and I'll delete the older tweet so that people don't go there.
You can tell
Sorry,
Shashi to
guys.
go there. Mm.
Yeah, I couldn't catch hold of Shashi. I was trying to get him on. For some reason, we cannot, three of us, we
Yeah.
cannot get together on the same day, but we should do that sometime. Yeah, just checking if the YouTube thing is up too. Sorry, guys, if I'm keeping you waiting on Twitter. Our best friends are on Twitter. But yeah, do come over to YouTube as well, because we can have more interaction on YouTube. It's easier if you want to just type something on the chat box, and we can chat. So yesterday, by the way, Shashi declared that he wants more people on the show,
Mm.
and we'll be happy to have any of you there. So we started getting a lot of applications for the positions. But yeah, I truly want to actually talk to other people, because
Yeah.
that would be interesting. I don't
I
know
think
if Zoom has
we
matured so much that you can
yeah.
just handpick people, but we should try to do that some point. Okay, we are good.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, uh,
yeah. Can we start with Tivatia?
yeah, we
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
should. Yeah, because
yeah,
that was
yeah,
what, just another one, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it
So I'll do the news anchor thing today, and why don't you start with your opening remarks on Tivatia?
yeah. So it was a game which it was very difficult to get involved in till that point where Tivatia came in, and I guess the curiosity of what's going to happen with him today,
Yeah,
and you do have to hang around a bit before that, because you don't expect him to really get going, right?
yeah,
So he again was barely defending, and ball wasn't going anywhere. So the build up is very gradual with him. It continues to be. He almost
you do
it's
have to
his
hang
innings
around a
are
bit before that,
about
because you
two
don't
guys
expect him to
almost, two
really
players, or
get
two
going, right?
cricketers, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
He
he
again was
जो जैसे
barely
he just got up
defending,
from an
and ball
afternoon
wasn't
nap
going
and he's
anywhere.
like chai
So
पी रहा है ये
the build up is
बड़ा
very
gradual है,
gradual
you
with
know.
him.
It's
It
like
continues to be.
ठीक है, और फिर इवनिंग वॉक के लिए निकल जाता है, you know. And suddenly he says चलो अब जॉगिंग करते हैं, you know. It's literally like phases कि वो सिंगल लेगा, कुछ नहीं
Yeah,
कर रहा, suddenly he's moving. But what was good was both of them, right? They were in deep shit. Yeah, when they came, it was like, yeah, you know, another one of those games where again it goes back to comparison. See, there's this sudden I guess almost like a distraction now with Tewatia, where it's like, are we making too much? Is everyone making too much? Because it's almost fashionable, right?
yeah, yeah.
After that Sharjah game. And was it a flash in the pan? Was it Sharjah, small ground? Uh, Today, he had a similar start, very gradual.
Yeah, yeah, but
See,
he was more in control. I think he was more confident. Even though he was playing out dot ball, but he wasn't just taking those wild swipes at the ball and missing
hmm,
it like he
hmm,
was doing in the earlier game. So, for
sure,
example, he could not touch the spinners in that Punjab game. Actually, he could not
right,
get bat on ball. But
yeah,
today he was able to get bat on ball. He was more assured. Actually,
yeah.
probably the target was also not that steep, so it was okay to take a few balls basically. So he had that.
They made it steep.
Yeah,
By I think RR did everything they could
yeah,
from that crap all start. It's like a derailed team here. आधी
yeah.
team out हो जाती है, half, you know, three Firangis get out, and then the rest of them are just what they call their top middle order.
Yeah.
Samson and Uttapa is back in the team, uh, but you
So I've seen this recurring theme with Rajasthan over the last few seasons, where they actually always go in for the gun overseas player. They have
yeah,
gone for Ben Stokes and all of that,
yeah,
and invariably, so Ben Stokes hasn't had a real a great season with Rajasthan Royals yet. He has had a few good games, and whatever success they have tasted, that has been due to the domestic players actually.
were you
Somehow,
surprised? Were you surprised with Stokes opening?
I was a bit surprised, although I expected. I have been reading some pieces. So ClickWiz, they have they published some piece where they said, you know, Stokes should open, and there has been this theory going around. And the other thought behind it, I think, was that this is a slow pitch, so Stokes may not be able to come in late and do anything. If at all he has a chance to score some quick runs, it is against a new ball. I was a bit surprised, but again, Rajasthan opening slot. Opening slot, they have always kept it very flexible. It seems they keep on changing the opener, so probably it's something that they are going to continue doing. They will try to pick the best opener for the day. I would actually, if it was up to me, I would have sent Sanju Samson. I would send Sanju as an opener in most games actually.
Yeah, you know he's one guy who has scored hundreds, right? And now suddenly he's.
By the way, so I'm just sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting comments on chat saying कि शशि को ले आओ. मतलब हम लोग already पूरी तरह से बूढ़े हो चुके हैं. Couple of comments शशि आने वाला है क्या, शशि को भी ले आओ. So शशि भाई देखो तुम्हारे बिना हम कुछ नहीं है.
शशि नहीं है यहाँ आज. हमको जेल लो थोड़ा. Ask us what should we start fielding questions on fantasy cricket where we can't give them any answers?
Shashi is attending, by the way, some sort of get together. He just messaged me on WhatsApp, so नहीं आने वाला है. तो अगर शशि के लिए ही आए हो, so we'll be sorry.
You want to tell them to get together क्या है? Maybe वो वहाँ पहुँच सकते हैं. हाँ, या शशि का नंबर दे देते हैं. Maybe they can do a WhatsApp video with them.
But yeah, Shashi will be back. Please bear with us. So going back to the game.
So Stokes, Stokes aside, going to Samson, a guy who's made more than 50 plus scores. He's got hundreds and all that. Daldo opening up. Usse last few innings he hasn't got much. Today he got a 20 odd, which seemed quite a bit after all the single digit scores. Uska to काफी dodgy scene चल रहा था. So if they do something like that, but going back to Tewatia, because that really is him and Parag, where they just stuck around long enough and suddenly realized that okay, we both played 15-20 balls, and let's start getting stuck into the bowling, and it just happened, right? You know how these things happen. You see that one shot and. But again, I read even what you said on Twitter that unlike Sharjah, this was where Tewatia was hitting both sides of the wicket. He was hitting everywhere. So he's like the next 360 degree.
And that Rashid Khan over was he was so much in control actually, with the reverse sweeps and then when Rashid picked up, it wasn't as if he had played only those reverse sweeps, then you would say okay, he has that one shot, but then Rashid pitched up and he hit it over covers. So he was totally in control actually. So it never so मुझे एक और मैं अपने दोस्त से बात कर रहा था, तो he told me कि Tewatia actually he played the Dhoni inning basically.
Oh, that's bang on. It really is that. Today it was
so जो धोनी के लिए जो धोनी जिसके लिए renowned हुआ करता था एक समय, today Tewatia played that inning.
I had those same thoughts because what happened was, I guess, that one over of Rashid, which I guess it seemed right to get him in there, and just I guess for even SRH to think that they could kill the game there, other than take it into the 19th or the 20th, and there in the 18th, I think everyone viewing would have had that apprehension. Yaar, yahan to game tootni hai, and I think there was, even I at that point said ki I didn't expect one. Of course, his strike rate against spin is below 100. Could 78, 80. I mean, it's abysmal, really. But what happens against the quicks? It goes to 180. Then, of course, you've got the left-hander against leg spin. But he said, "Nahi, main right-hander ban jaunga." So you didn't know what all was happening. But it was the first one which he took on the full. That right there was okay. It's like I dare you. And he dared Rashid, which never really happens. Very often it is like you just prodded back to Rashid. It doesn't go beyond that. So that happened. Then the other one happened. By the time he drove him through the covers, and Warner was all over it. it was like कि उसने तोड़ दिया था उनको.
Yeah.
It was like one a misfielding and all those
Yeah,
things
yeah.
happen. And you could see a guy. Okay, they still hadn't. I mean, it still went to the second last ball of the match,
Yeah, yeah.
and it
So he did something that I thought he was sent to do against Bishnoi in the Punjab game. I mean, the reason I thought he was promoted in the Punjab game was to target the leg spinner. And Brian Lara was saying on the dugout today that they should not ball Rashid Khan against Tewatia because he may take toll on him.
Yeah.
And I was like कि यार गूगली वाले बॉलर ने तो उसको पूरी तरह से टाई डाउन करके रखा था, तो मे बी द सेम वुड हैपन अगेन. बट आई मीन एंड आई वाज सरप्राइज कि कोई ऐसा कोई इंडियन प्लेयर, डोमेस्टिक प्लेयर हो ही नहीं सकता हु स्ट्रगल्स अगेंस्ट स्पिन एंड फास्ट बॉलर का वेट करके मारता है. सो वो प्रॉब्ली वो नर्व्स थे बेसिकली. एंड तेवाटिया इन दैट डे ऑल्सो सेड कि he hasn't had such a bad start or he hasn't struggled so much in the middle ever. So it was actually uncharacteristic for him also. So कल भी हम लोग actually तेवाटिया के बारे में बात कर रहे थे stream पे, and I quoted a comment from Ajay Jadeja, who was the Haryana team captain at some point, and he said कि Tewatia always used to practice range hitting. So it's not a flash in the pan basically. And we can see that from the way he shapes up to play these shots. He is not premeditating. He looks comfortable. So I mean, आज मेरे को बहुत ही रैंडम ख्याल आया था कि कैन तेवाटिया प्ले फॉर इंडिया. आई मीन इफ ही इज अ लेग स्पिनिंग ऑलराउंडर, आई मीन दैट इज गोल्ड डस्ट.
Right? Exactly. Now I must say this, that's really strange that on Cricinfo, when I was looking at the way their team sheet, they had Tewatia down as a bowler, which I guess maybe it is an old perception or something. His strike rates, his T20 strike rates are very high. And his average is okay. I mean, these are things which there's going to be a redefining of what this guy can do, because in T20 we come to a point you got to identify कि क्या kar sakta hai banda. And all-rounders is something ever since I think Hardik has stopped bowling. So that is taken away. Who he would be pitted against would be Krunal, really.
Krunal or Ravi Jadeja.
Or what? Somehow strangely I didn't think of even Jadeja in T20. I just think of him maybe Test, ODI. And Krunal and seeing Krunal's obvious problems against the quicks. And here we are talking about a leggy versus a left arm spinner.
Exactly. So or next T20 World Cup will be in India. So हो सकता है. हितेश ने बाय द वे बोला है चैट पे कि आज के दिन तेवाटिया लुक अलाइक को लेके आना चाहिए था, एंड दैट तेवाटिया लुक अलाइक इज अगेंस्ट शशि, बिकॉज उसी के पास वो स्टबल है.
They just want him.
Whatever we talk about, the chat is about Shashi.
Only to Shashi.
Tewatia for T20 World Cup. People are talking about it, and actually after today's game, it's going to start. And if he does it another couple of games, because we have seen people making a reputation based on one season of IPL and getting into the team, and for good reason as well. अगर T20 World Cup की team select करनी है next year, so you have to take IPL performances.
Like, just as Tewatia is making a reputation, you think someone like Dhawan is losing that aura or that reputation as a T20 bat, because the mainstay across the limited overs formats for quite some time has been Rohit and Dhawan. It's like the firm, ये बंदे आएंगे, ये खेलेंगे. KL Rahul has somehow shaken that up a bit. अब वही है, वो कहेंगे यार ये तो मनहूस निकला है, इसको ले जाएंगे तो पता नहीं है इंडिया को भी हराए. These weird things that stick with Indian cricket, because how would but again, it's so strange. I was thinking about KL Rahul becoming captain almost like Virat in IPL, and Kohli scoring all those runs. So in a way, what KL Rahul is going through a Virat IPL season, a really good Virat season where he keeps scoring irrespective, the season he has had previously. The team goes down, but what is amazing that the guy is almost immune to whatever is happening around, which I think is incredible, really.
And there is a criticism of him as well, and to some extent it is fair that he plays for himself. So जब 2019 वर्ल्ड कप का टीम सिलेक्शन हो रहा था ना, तो आई वॉज वॉचिंग सहवाग इन वन ऑफ द शोज एंड he wasn't sure of a spot in the team. So सहवाग actually said कि वो हिंदी में ही शो था, तो he said कि अब इन्होंने अपने लिए खेल लिया है because midway through the season they announced a team and KL Rahul was there. So he said now I hope he'll play for the team. So there is that criticism. I have a point about Gambhir as well, since you touched upon it and we are discussing openers. So Gambhir may be, sorry, Gambhir, another day. Actually, chat पे कोई गंभीर के बारे में लिख रहा था, तो
Gambhir is everywhere. I mean, today he after Samson, the best young batsman, today he got up Sky.
Sky तो उसका लड़का है यार, KKR का.
Remember the name या कुछ उसने बोला.
अच्छा.
So Gambhir is like somehow always at large,
So he shared his Man of the Match award with Sky all those years ago when Sky used to play for KKR. So Gambhir got the Man of the Match and he invited Sky.
Yeah, wonderful. So, and he's played some killer innings with KKR also. I mean.
Yeah. So sticking to Dhawan basically, so one point I wanted to make, and this again related to Dhoni as well, कि Dhawan का एक जो perception का problem होता है ना, and that has been the case for us since 2007. Somehow India made a name for in T20, international T20 in 2007 World Cup when they actually ditched their ODI side and sent us a completely different T20 side, and they got the results. After that, our T20 international side is almost always 50 over performers.
Sure.
Including Dhoni himself. So Dhoni has not done anything of worth in T20 cricket with the bat. He has done nothing.
Internationals definitely.
IPL not, also he doesn't have that many finishes to show for, he has a few, but international T20, I don't remember his number, but maybe somebody can put it up on chat because people are very good with that. But I don't know how many 50s, maybe 1 or 2 50s he has international.
I recall it. I wrote a piece many years back, and then I had published it again, and I recall that in spite of the gap of a few years, because one stat was there that he didn't have an international T20 50.
He didn't have it for a while.
For a very long time. Between his IPL and his T20I international numbers, there was a very stark difference. This stayed for a long time, but because of the aura around his IPL, I guess, performances and the way he was perceived, it was something that wasn't ever questioned.
And I tell you why that is the case. The way Dhoni constructs an inning, that suits the 50 over format. All this talk about, settling down, taking the game deep. You don't have enough time in a T20 game to take the game deep, because the game are 2 good overs and you have pretty much lost the game basically. 2 good overs for the bowling team. And the same thing, just to complete the point, the same is the deal with Dhawan actually, because his strike rate ceiling is low. So Dhawan is a good ODI player because he scores those hundreds, and he can go at a 110 strike rate and play that long inning and win, and play that 130 run knock over 45 overs. But in a T20, once he finishes those power plays, the difference between a Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul is they can still play the aggressor role, but Shikhar Dhawan cannot do that, and that's why he's never a good T20 player. But again, they stick to him based on his 50 over performances basically.
I think what is happening with Delhi with Dhawan is they realize from their past that they never had a guy who could just drop anchor right through the innings. So Dhawan does that. For too long they didn't have a guy, maybe they do have him in a year now, who could play around 20 overs, because Delhi has seen so many collapses. It's a team which has been dismissed for under 100 scores repeatedly. So they are covering a base which I guess a team like SRH saw it initially with Williamson. Of course, Williamson is a guy who is building a reputation as a T20 player. I mean, he's a guy who enforces straight on. You can see it within 5-6 ball. His game rapidly changes. With Dhawan, what we saw is not just the energy levels, but the shots just don't move. So when he got a 4 or a 6 later on, it was almost like a surprise. where is
And somehow he's
one
not able to get himself out also. That's the problem.
yeah,
Once he settles in.
I had to check again because I think I by the time that Mumbai had won, मैं भूल गया था ये out हुआ था कि
Yeah,
नहीं, and then
yeah,
I saw not out.
yeah,
So just to see that he had lasted so long, but there was nothing of that innings later which really stayed with you. Uh, it's it's again amazing that in spite of all that, the match went to the second last ball. So which is where if you have a guy now, Delhi was a much weaker team today because
Pant
of
nahi
the
tha.
obvious changes. But in spite of that, you can take a game so deep. So all these games where you realize you can just push them into the 20th, and again, Stoinis has forced a game into a tie.
Yeah.
So can that happen again? So I think that is the entire deal of at least the IPL, even if it isn't T20, that push the games where you can.
Yeah.
But the difference
Yeah,
between
KKR have done it twice actually while defending a total, right?
yeah,
They just push the game deep.
yeah, where the difference with MI today is they went hard at it in the first five. Otherwise, they would have lost this game, really.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
these games with, the kind of bowling that comes at you from Delhi with, again, Rabada and Nokia, even though Rabada went for a few, it's, if you get down into new bats, it gets very tricky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the fact that, Quinton de Kock went at it and went at it so early, the fact that he pretty much took on both the spinners, taking on Ashwin in the first over. One, of course, it wasn't expected because, you have QDK there, get the offie at him. Now, he is obviously a lot comfier just going for it other than prodding around.
Yeah.
And to prod karna hota, so you should have a first slip at him, which they didn't, which is where you wonder about strategy again. If you have QDK, you have to put pressure when your spinners are coming in, and you should have that first slip.
Yeah.
You're giving the comfort that we are not attacking. Now, whatever that means is you are giving him a bit of a higher rating that he is entitled against a spinner.
Yeah.
I'll also be very interested in, if the speeds at which Ashwin bowled at, I think Aksar bowled a lot faster today. We didn't talk about Ashwin's speeds in that first over. At least I didn't catch them.
Yeah, I think invariably if Ashwin comes into the power play, I don't think he flights it that much. I think he's looking to slide a few, ball a few floaters or a carom ball.
Yeah.
I was going to make a point, but I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, but that's why against QDK, you have to, if you're going to bowl spin in the power play, go all out.
Yeah.
First slip to hona hi hai, and after that, even if he hits you for a 6, don't. And what they did was they pulled Ashwin out, right? After that 1 over, which was like giving him almost that, okay, listen, we are backing off here, which I don't think was such a great thing. But both games went into the 20th over, second last ball, third, third last ball, and
so the point I wanted to make was about and you made a good point that what carried Mumbai through was the game they played in the power play, and I think we are at that stage of the tournament, and we know the pitches are slowing down. So I think this is the point where we'll start seeing teams trying to get as far as possible in the power play, because so far it seemed like people are not. I mean, if you get runs in the power play, it's good. If you don't, then it's then it's fine, because you can actually hit out at any point basically. Teams believe that they can take 20 off an over at any time. In all the games so far, but now given that it's unlikely, it requires quality of a Virat Kohli who can actually create that big over at the end on a slowish pitch. So otherwise, a lot of team will be looking to score as many as possible in the power play. You might see teams going more, showing more intent, or maybe I think Stokes was also, so we saw evidence of that. I think sending Stokes in was also an evidence of that. And the way QDK played, so you might see more teams trying to send an aggressor at the top. KKR might as well throw a Sunil Narayan over there again.
Not again. I don't think, maybe not, but they could even have Gill going strong, though. Gill, by whatever we did see, played deep. Maybe they continue with that, but
Yeah,
The
and
other
and,
thing
and I
about
have a very good point that Bharat makes on the chat, that Delhi's fielding is also very poor actually.
yeah, but it's
Today
such
they were.
fun to watch. It's such fun to watch poor
Yeah.
fielding. Yeah,
No, so Prithvi Shaw
yeah,
actually, he always catches me as an aberration in the youth system, because
yeah,
every young player who is coming in, he is a superb fielder,
yeah,
right? And he is a below par fielder. They made that point on commentary also today. He's definitely a below par fielder. He's a below par mover. Uh,
mm,
I mean, so it's one thing that you may be a below par mover, but at least you should have those safe hands. Generally, people coming in from Mumbai, they have
mm,
those safe hands. They take those outfield catches, even if they are
yeah,
not, very good outfielders, ground fielders, basically. So that's something to worry about. I mean, if Prithvi wants to play for India, he really needs to work on his fitness, and he
mm,
really needs to work on his catching,
yeah.
because this is not the first time. He dropped a couple of catches in previous games
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah. I think there were some fumbles also. There was one fumble on the boundary, and it
He
was
fumbled one in the last over. He could have run Pollard out actually. Pollard
exactly,
just ran
exactly.
blindly. That
Yeah,
was clear
exactly.
run out if he had picked
Yeah.
it up.
So that's what there were three occasions straight away. One was, of course, that catch on the boundary, which went for six.
Yeah.
Then there was the fumble again on the boundary. Some things look quite silly, and which really show him for almost like a guy who has very bad awareness of maybe
Yeah.
the ball, the field, or where he is. A guy who's switched off. Now these are things in a T20 which could decide uh, whether they prefer another guy to him.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, uh, because there will be, I think, by the end of this IPL,
Yeah.
there are going to be one or two other guys also coming up. Now, why not even Surya Kumar Yadav as opener? I mean, there's enough talk, of course, of Samson for the beginning of the IPL, which of course has quietened down. KL Rahul is constant, but there are these, and which is why I don't think Prithvi Shaw fits into the limited over formats. The fact that he makes it into the test but doesn't,
But he has played limited overs.
Yes.
So, but even in tests, if he continues to play tests, then even in test matches, because so in IPL he has dropped more catches than he has hung on to, right? So that is a worrying pattern even for test matches, right? You may need to, if you are an opening batsman, you may need to field close in. You should be prepared to either stand in the gully or the slips.
He'll be third man or
हाँ, तो थर्ड मैन फास्ट बॉलर के लिए होता है यार. मतलब अगर थर्ड मैन, अगर आपका बैट्समैन थर्ड मैन बन रहा है, तो उमेश यादव अपना ओवर करा के कहाँ जाएगा बेसिकली. एक्चुअली हम लोग and that reminds me, because we were talking about it some other point as well, some other day as well, and मैंने ट्वीट भी किया था कि शुभमन गिल और पृथ्वी शॉ को मैं अक्सर कंपेयर करता हूँ, because they came out of the same under 19 World Cup. Shubman Gill was a better batsman in that under 19 World Cup compared to Prithvi Shaw, जो फाइनल में हम हारे थे, and Shaw was the captain. But वहाँ से Shaw has been given more opportunities for India compared to Shubman Gill. And it's a tricky thing, because I think on a good batting pitch, Shaw is still a better batsman. But Shubman Gill is a better overall package, definitely. He has the better technique. I think Shubman Gill can adapt his game to different conditions. आज भी देखा, जब बॉल थोड़ी सी मूव करती है या रुक के आती है, it's not, Prithvi Shaw doesn't find वो इतना comfortable नहीं देखता basically. Then again, if you put that fielding as well in the equation, right? So maybe it's a Mumbai cricket thing where a Mumbai lad gets the first bite at the cherry, and अगर वो fail करेगा तो शुभमन गिल को chance मिलेगा. मतलब I think, because and that lobby is getting strong on Twitter and social media and everywhere, right? कि शुभमन गिल को कब वो time आएगा when you say okay, he is playing that next 2023 World Cup, so 2021 तक he should get in, he should get the games 3-4 wherever basically, right? And make him an all format player if you can.
It's again, it's a tricky one also with someone like Shaw, who broke into Test cricket first, right? I think he did. And it was a big break that happened. I mean, it's something that catches both the eye and the imagination when it did happen with Shaw. I think it really held everyone's breath.
But वो इंडिया में वेस्ट इंडीज के अगेंस्ट, वो देवांग गांधी ने भी न्यूजीलैंड के अगेंस्ट,
रोहित शर्मा ने भी किया था.
तो exactly.
But the deal with Shaw is one, he'll be opening,
Yeah.
right? For Delhi, I think he's been given a license. The difference is, I think Gill, whether he is or not given, his role is very different. We are seeing it. He's going to bat deeper. He's going to. We
Yeah.
know by now that Gill possibly is equally ruthless because
Yeah.
both these players, they do have that. But Shaw will have these almost fleeting innings,
Yeah.
where he could make even 30 or 15. I don't know whether Gill will play that innings in the IPL or whether that is part of his brief, to go on and do that. So I wonder whether they're even competing for the same spot, really, because Gill, if you're looking at what happened
Yeah,
in
but they are both
2007,
natural openers in all formats, so they have to compete
yeah,
for the same
yeah,
spot.
yeah. No, because Gill, if you're looking at doing what happened in 2007 and sending a completely new team, I mean, it's to me, it's a beautiful thought to next year field a team which says, okay, whether it is Virat or Rohit, say, hey, listen, now you kids go out there and do something,
Yeah, yeah.
and whether KL Rahul leads that or whoever leads that team, it's been a long journey, and for whether Virat or Rohit or that entire ODI team, it's time to dismantle it, at least when you go into the T20 format.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe take a few, but don't take that whole bunch. One or two players at best, but you can't. And I think the gaps will also appear with Hardik now.
Yeah.
So Hardik is a batsman, so he's not your all-rounder.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few spots. By next year that T20 team might be very different from what we are thinking. If they are honest with themselves, if they want to say कि हमको यार सबको खिलाना है और
वही बड़े लोग तो पहले खेलेंगे, उनको पहले टिकट काट देंगे,
then that's wrong.
So वही जो मैं कह रहा था ना कि इंडिया में परसेप्शन वैसा होता है कि बड़े 50 ओवर प्लेयर T20 वर्ल्ड कप पहले खेलते ही हैं. So 2016 में फॉर एग्जांपल युवराज को नहीं खेलना चाहिए था T20 वर्ल्ड कप, and because of these picks, frankly speaking, sometimes I don't want to support India in world tournaments, right? Because
पता है यार, you're going on some kind of nostalgia which just doesn't hold any water, man. It's like done. Now it's not. See, you know for a while that Rohit and Kohli, they're great players now. So it's amazing that they're saying यार हम आके IPL भी खेल रहे हैं and all. Because how much is there to drive them in these formats and this that? It's like guys who've done their, and they're not even traveling cricketers like AB or so many cricketers now who are just playing the leagues. So it's very different.
Yeah. So I have a question, so I'll answer from the chat. Would be interesting if you could discuss mid-season transfers later in the stream or make a different video altogether. So mid-season transfer, I mean, if you want to humor yourself and want to talk about it, it's theoretically possible, but I don't see any teams loaning out their players. So I think this year there was a change. Until previous years of IPL, you could only transfer. So there is a mid-season transfer window. Like other leagues in the world, and you could only transfer uncapped players, but now you can transfer capped players as well, but there's a condition that they should not have played any games so far, or less than 2 games or something. But I don't think, because given it's such a small league, if you loan a player to some other team, you might actually be helping them, and nobody wants to help the other team. And again, it would again be possible if 1 or 2 teams are already assured of a spot in the playoffs, and they are looking to get other players into their ranks to help them win the final. But that is not the case either. So nobody wants to help the other team right now. So I don't see any loaning or any transfers happening. So just don't. I mean, it would be interesting to see a player who has already played a game. For example, Saurabh Tiwari, who has played for Mumbai. I think he's eligible to be transferred. So it would be interesting for somebody to start a season with Mumbai and mid-season he's playing for Delhi. But those things are not happening yet in IPL.
But Delhi, going by some of the picks, might even go for Saurabh Tiwari.
Yeah,
they're fully capable of doing something. Did it ever cross your mind Rahane as a wicket keeper?
Uh,
He
uh,
has kept, right?
no, Rahane has never kept. No,
He hasn't. I don't
no,
know
no,
why.
no, no.
मैंने कहा पता नहीं वो भी कर. He's never
नहीं नहीं
kept.
नहीं 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 नहीं. He
Okay,
is never
and
kept.
okay, I don't know
Uthappa
where it.
has kept and
हाँ,
all these
मुझे लगा
other
पता नहीं
folks has
नहीं
kept.
somewhere at some level he's never kept for
नहीं नहीं
India.
नहीं
Has he
नहीं.
ever?
Not
No.
for India, not for any level, not even for Mumbai. I'm pretty sure.
Not okay. He
Yeah.
hasn't. I don't know where it came in my mind. इतनी fielding करता है उसको वहीं घुसा देते. You know, it would have.
देखो that is your
हाँ,
Rahane love maybe कि
मैंने कहा, you know,
हमारा
it's
लड़का तो
very.
सब कर लेगा आप लेके तो रखिए.
हाँ, I thought, why not? I'm sure
Yeah.
he'd be able to,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can we quickly talk about tomorrow's game because some people are looking forward to that.
Okay, yeah, that's a
RCB,
good one to, yeah.
RCB versus KKR. Maybe we give our thoughts on the game and that might help. Even though हमारा fantasy guru शशि नहीं है, but हम भी थोड़ा बहुत जानते हैं. So so today I did well in fantasy by the way. So
Oh, you did?
yeah,
Okay.
I've been
Who
doing
did you have in? Who did you have in your team?
I know I will not tell all the players but I banked on a few players like Rabada and Rashid Khan and that paid off because
Yeah.
now and I made them captain or vice captain
Yeah.
so because now we are at that stage where some key bowlers are going to pick up some wickets especially towards the end of the innings.
Yeah.
So you might start to back bowlers a bit more. So in the beginning of the tournament fantasy में I was not backing the bowlers at all because बहुत runs बन रहे थे but अभी क्योंकि थोड़े से totals भी देखो ना थोड़े totals low हो रहे हैं 160 170 वाले totals बन रहे हैं
And they're winning games, yeah.
and they are winning games और यार wicket भी हो रहे हैं पहले तो games ऐसे हो रहे थे कि team would finish their innings losing 3 wickets only मुझे तो वो बिल्कुल ही अभी भी मुझे लगता है यार why not lose 7 or 8 wickets through an innings basically right especially if you are batting first so Delhi जैसे खेल रहा था right तो
Yeah.
खैर वो शिखर धवन पे मैं आ जाऊंगा फिर से so वो अभी करना
We
नहीं है.
can't digress. So we'll get into.
So
We'll get
Bangalore
into
versus Kolkata we are going back to Sharjah. Your thoughts on the game?
yeah. So for one I think.
So I'll give you one more piece of data. So this is the first game Bangalore is playing at Sharjah and
Yeah.
KKR have already played one game at Sharjah.
Yeah. Which is, I guess, great to look forward to Kohli again, right? And seeing that he's struck some kind of form. What some kind? It's pretty heavy duty form that he's got into. So you already see the opening of Kohli in his previous innings. Where he's saying, okay, he's hitting, the sixes which he usually tries to hold himself back from. So one real go-to would be Kohli. I think the other guy I would be really looking for because they've got the batting order sorted with KKR that Morgan's coming before Karthik. I would really be, interested in watching what Morgan would do tomorrow. I'd be, quite happy if he were like to come in the 5th or 6th over,
Yeah.
and he could rip a place like Sharjah apart.
Yeah.
Just by all his entire game would come into play, especially behind the wicket, again the angles that he plays. So a guy like Morgan I think would be big. Seeing that even BK has got into some kind of form in the previous game, this is again a ground. So it's basically the three captains in a way that I'd be very interested in what they can do, because this game really I think would be decided by what these guys can do, and of course that brings the fourth captain, which is AB. So a game like this, you're expecting it to be a big scorer, but we've seen even Sharjah the scores have slipped down.
Yeah. So that's why this is the second game. So previous game Delhi had scored 184 and they won comfortably, getting Rajasthan out for 138. This is an interesting game. I mean, so that may be an aberration actually. Maybe because Sharjah has given us just one low scoring game. Maybe we can come back because both these teams are packed with solid hitters. So they may push the total back to 200 and maybe they got some time to prepare the wicket again, water it down. So it would be very interesting to see from the perspective of fantasy picks again. You have to be smart with your choices because I still see, especially for this game, I still think that it might be a fairly high scoring game. May not be something like where 200 is chased, but we may still see a 180 total and the other team getting close. we may not like other
Yeah.
venues where 160 or 170 maybe
Yeah.
a winning total. So you may
Yeah.
still want to pack your teams with batsmen.
Yeah. I'm losing I guess a lot of belief in KKR's lower order now, though.
Hmm.
With Russell really having whether it's fitness
Yeah, I
problems,
don't know if
form
Russell will
problems,
play the next
play
game because
even.
he
Yeah.
has that
Yeah.
knee injury. And
So
one
so
thing is
so
for sure, he won't be bowling. He was always a fantasy pick for me again because he bowled those death overs,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Which are
he used to
gone.
get free wickets in the death overs always,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
gone. So now you need
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
decide
Yeah.
whether you
So
want him
so
or not.
that again is something, with KKR, uh, where they go, and yeah, it could bring Sunil Narayan back opening again because it's
Yeah.
Sharjah.
And
Maybe yeah.
yeah, another side story is Sunil Narayan has been, his action is under the scanner again. So
Okay.
I don't know how he will react to that. So
Uh,
he was reported after the last game.
okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it won't be affected. He won't be affected. I don't know if KKR actually want to hold him back for a couple of games just to
Sort the action out.
sort the
Yeah.
action or do some internal audits or whatever they do.
Mm.
One thing for Bangalore at Sharjah is, I mean, this may remind them of their home ground, Chinnaswamy, my home ground also
Yeah.
Chinnaswamy,
Yeah. Yeah.
with short boundaries, and
Yeah.
they have. I mean, I shouldn't say they have the game to play in the short boundaries because they keep losing here.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
still they have an idea of how to defend on a smallish ground.
Yeah.
If any spinner is going to probably pick wickets on small grounds, and I've said this before that I'm a big fan of Chahal because of the way he
Yeah.
plays at
Yeah.
Chinnaswamy
Yeah. Yeah.
on those small boundaries. I mean, you saw the way Chahal got out Dhoni in the previous game, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the best
Sure.
moments or best constructed overs I have seen throughout this IPL, right? He bowled 5 balls straight at him into the stumps, and the 6th ball he threw it out completely wide and
Yeah.
completely foxed Dhoni. And it was funny to me also because people keep talking about how Dhoni teaches Chahal from behind the stumps to fox the batsman. So अगर इतना पता था तो चहल को
Yeah.
पढ़ लेते.
He gave him that six. The six
Yeah.
was the straight ball, and it's almost like, yeah, it you had Dhoni who was
Yeah.
almost flat. I mean, reaching out to that, and he got a fair bit of reach also. But yeah,
And the player to look out for me is, again, as you said, Kohli. I really look forward to watching because
Yeah.
he is at his best. And Sharjah, again, you talked about Morgan, but again, if Kohli gets in at this ground, he would be hitting those effortless sixes over covers or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
This is a sort of ground if he gets in, and then even if the pitch is slightly on the slower side, but if Kohli gets in, he can really make you pay towards the end. He might get 100 here. I mean, it's
I'd
not
be
completely
very
impossible.
Yeah, but I'd be very interested in who wins the toss and what they do here.
That's interesting because so far
Yeah.
teams have been batting second after winning the
And-
toss.
Yeah, and
But
that
last game
is-
the team batting second lost.
Exactly. And now that is something which Kohli naturally wants to do. He wants to chase, and is that in the team's best interest? It is definitely in his best interest because his numbers would be way better chasing even in the IPL, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And,
No, but he is going to bat first tomorrow. Take my word for it, because he said after the CSK game that this is the best game we have played, and that was where they were defending a total, and now he trusts his bowling a lot more than he
of
used
course,
to do.
They are better. They are
a better exactly. So and plus reading the pitches. If bowlers are going to get any assistance, they are most likely going to get it in the second innings, right? So most likely they would bat first, and Kohli in IPL has scored hundreds batting first as well. So in fact, I want to see, as you were saying, right, about the opening slot. I want to see Kohli opening as well, maybe at some point.
I think as we're coming to pretty much the halfway stage. I see Delhi having to reshuffle and reassess, and I see that even with Bangalore, where you suddenly say, okay, we're good, we've got so many wins, but we can be so much way better again because of those first 5 overs. So you come to a point where you say, who are the guys who are going to get me hundreds or maybe big 50s? Because 20s, 30s, I think you're cutting yourself short. You're just not really doing justice to even a T20 game. So It really is about.
Yeah, and especially because Finch is also struggling at the top. He hasn't had that. I mean, he has played a few
Yeah,
good knocks, and
yeah,
he's always a dangerous player because once
sure.
he gets through those 3 or 4 overs, he will
Yeah,
continue to give you 6 and over
yeah.
throughout 10th or
Yeah,
12th over
yeah.
basically. So
Tomorrow would be again. I guess I don't see Kohli opening tomorrow, but
yeah,
tomorrow would
at
be
some point.
ideal game for Finch to go
Yeah,
bonkers.
yeah, yeah,
Also, I
yeah,
mean, we
yeah, yeah.
left him
True,
out,
true.
and you just realize that he's pretty much, I guess, in that Watson Faf mold, but he's a current. He's an active cricketer.
Yeah.
He's not a retired cricketer, Australia captain, and all that. Gyan which comes with the Finch resume, and you just see that if he comes good, man, he'll just win games,
Yeah, yeah. No, so the
single-handedly.
reason I mean the combination that I see if Finch gets dropped is getting Moeen Ali in the middle order, and so Moeen Ali can also pepper those boundaries quite frequently, and he's a very good T20 player. If you see him for Worcestershire, I think he plays for. He has, he's a very gun player. He bats higher up the order, and for England also, we know he's a good stroke player, and
I
he
would
gives you
never
that bowling option as well.
I would never pick Moeen Ali for RCB. I feel there's something in with the inclusion. It's
Yeah,
almost like
yeah, yeah.
Umesh Yadav for RCB or Stein. Certain things don't work with certain teams.
वास्तु आता है वो सब
हाँ
सर.
वास्तु है कुछ है इसमें. There might be numbers showing that when Moeen Ali plays for RCB, they always lose or something. I wonder, but it doesn't work somehow. With they had that fit never has happened, and that guy's played. It's almost like I think of Parthiv Patel and RCB. It's got too much heartbreak and lost games, 20s, 30s, which never go beyond. It's again about thinking about players who you can get right up, and for me, I guess going to someone like Stoinis, which gives you both the batting and the bowling option, but he's clicking. It's as simple as that. And we never thought Stoinis would click. I mean, frankly, I didn't think. It's again one of those fits which you didn't think, and suddenly Stoinis is just coming off.
Yeah. He's the new Russell actually.
Yeah. He's the new Russell.
Yeah. So I have a question on the chat. Bharat is asking Banton. Have you seen Banton bat yet?
No, I haven't.
He played for England. He has, in domestic cricket, he has been very destructive. He's a new left-handed kid on the block, actually. Almost in the, Owen Morgan mode, I won't say, because he plays a lot of those switch hits and all. And he's very, very, his mindset is very aggressive. So, yeah, and KKR have picked him. So, it's possible if Russell is not playing and KKR really want to go bonkers at the top at the ground like Sharjah, I think Banton can be a good pick. and if he's playing, I might probably include him in my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Because he's not, that highly price tagged. So, yeah, Banton might be a good pick for KKR. Because we were talking about RCB, and RCB is always, one team I've been fascinated about, and they give you a lot of things to talk about, right? And this year, probably even more so, right? That RCB is going to get all of their selections wrong, but this year they have improved very quickly. So they now even have Chris Morris in their team, and they seem to be getting at a point where they know what their best 11 is. Usually RCB know that at the end of the season. After they play their 14th game, they know what their best team is. But not maybe because of Simon Katich or whoever
Chris
is driving
Morris
this.
was not fit, so he just got fit.
Okay.
And he bowled a heavy ball in the last game. Chris Morris has again been a player who was very good with Delhi for a couple of seasons, and then he just tapered off. From a guy who was one of their best all-rounders, he forgot how to bat. Great fielder, everything fell apart. A guy who and very clean hitter. So if you're talking about so much hitting even in middle lower order with RCB, so it's very dangerous now. I mean, it's almost getting that MI kind of almost like dread which teams have when you're facing, but this is a younger MI, So I guess there's going to be a lot more dread that comes with the RCB as this tournament goes on.
Yeah. Someone told me Banton is right-handed. Yes, he is. So sometimes, it happens to me that for some players, the switch hits stay in my mind, and I remember them.
From time to time, I get confused whether Bhatia is left or right-handed. I have to check and recheck because, I think with some people must be thinking that about Maxwell also.
Yeah.
Or Dinesh Karthik, कि ये left-hander
Yeah.
है, right-hander है
Yeah.
क्या?
So another thing Kohli said, and we might want to wrap this soon, but another thing Kohli said, and that really struck me, was he recently said that that super over that he played, and that 4 he hit against Bumrah, he said something clicked in his head after that, and from there on, he said he wasn't really feeling it in the middle, and you could tell that. And he said, as soon as I hit that shot, something clicked in my head, something some levers that they got
he
rearranged.
seems so happy after that.
Yeah, he seems so happy, and he's back. You can see that fluency, and it's amazing to see. And if you have played any sport at any level, you would know that how that one shot sort of changes the way you are feeling about the game. In table tennis, if I'm getting one of my, if I get in and I hit one of those backhands, I would know कि okay, आज तो मैं पेल रहा हूँ.
Same here. Yeah, I get that. That totally. Yeah, but with Kohli, he said it, and we could see it. I mean, that was a matchless innings. It was beautiful. It was Kohli at his best, and one of the most pleasing knocks to watch in this IPL so far, because it was that of a master, and there was all that finish. And again, I guess the best part, which is what differentiates Kohli from a lot of youngsters, a lot of even seasoned players, more so I think Indian players, is the running between the wickets. And what he did in that innings, which most of, I think, the seniors who are his teammates, I don't think they can run that much. And a lot of the kids can't. So it's that, I think, is a huge gap in the system just now, that guys need to start running, which they aren't.
True. So yeah, from fantasy perspective, again, you need to really watch till the end who is actually playing, because I don't know if Russell is, because these are key fantasy players. I don't know if Russell will be playing, and I'm not sure if Narine will be playing. I mean, just because of the what they are talking about in the dressing room, depends on that.
But I'm sure Shashi would have spoken to them, and they would have told them inside information.
So this may again be depends on if RCB is batting first. I think if their top order clicks, this may be a high scoring contest again. I would be looking at death bowlers. I think Prasidh Krishna will be playing again. I got a lot of value out of Prasidh Krishna in my previous fantasy pick. And he's a good death bowler, decent pace, and
if smarts,
and if he's and he did well in previous IPLs as well. He was a bit unlucky, but on his day, and if you get those free wickets at the end, they really help you in the fantasy games. Probably Sani again, maybe a good pick if you can pick again those free wickets at the end. Did you notice, by the way, and that's my final point that I'll wrap up on, so many fast bowlers are bowling beamers. I haven't seen another IPL or another tournament where it's almost as if you see a beamer every other day. So today also there was a beamer from when Kane Williamson was batting. Who bowled a beamer? I think Archer bowled a beamer. So it was above waist high full toss. Any reason for it? Right? I thought initially people were saying because of the dew factor, ball is slipping, but there wasn't any dew today as well.
I caught your tweet where you said that they're trying too many Yorkers, right? And that stayed in my And I mean that seems like a obvious conclusion to come to, because when you don't get the Yorker right, you end up bowling a full toss. But it's a bit of the dew. It obviously is. But it is hell of a lot, because there has been dew previously also. I'm sure it really is a very aggressive ball, because I think they could be trying to bowl full tosses also. Because
so Sani did not apologize to Stoinis. Did you notice that he did not even apologize to Stoinis after that?
It got quite nasty, because that's when Pant, I think, was trying to needle him a bit as well. So it could be, the full toss is maybe less effort than a Yorker, and it isn't exactly a very easy ball to hit either, right? Depending on where. So it could be somewhere in between that.
I hate to see those beamers, because I mean, again, if you have played the game, they are very uncomfortable, and it shakes you actually. If a ball comes, because your eye is set in a way, in such a way, you are actually looking at the pitch when you are shaping yourself, because you want to see where the ball is pitching. So as soon as a beamer comes at you, it's a very dangerous ball actually, and if it gets you in the ribs or whatever, it shakes you actually. You know, you can, if you get hit by a bouncer on your helmet, but that's still okay because you are watching it. But if you get hit by a bouncer directly, a beamer on your head directly, that could be. And because the game has been talking so much about safety and all, I really feel, I mean, if this trends continue, and I, you know, what Sani did, I was really pissed by that, because if you end up bowling a beamer, and I don't talk about spirit of cricket much, but if you end up bowling a beamer, you should know how, you know, how you made the batsman feel because of that, and you should definitely put your hand up. So, and if you're not putting it up, and because today again Graham Swan was talking in the dugout, he was saying, do you wonder, because last ball Kane Williamson hit him for a 6. So, do you think it is deliberate? I mean, it can be deliberate also at some point, right, sir? I doubt if somebody is doing it deliberately, because Brett Lee defended, he said difference between a beamer and a Yorker is just 1 inch of, you know, you're delivering it here, then it's a beamer, and if you're delivering it here, then it's a Yorker. So it's only this much, you know, some whatever 5-degree angle between that your arm forms with the vertical. So, but yeah, they need to, I think, really watch those beamers and maybe penalize the teams a bit further. Maybe take the bowler off, because yeah, I mean, it's a mistake, but you should design the rules in such a way that you know, players need to be really careful about bowling the beamers.
Yeah, that's there. It's getting too common,
Yeah. Too common. I don't like to see that.
Yeah. It's scary watching it at times. I mean, leave playing in the middle.
Exactly.
It's pretty
shakes
crazy.
you off. Yeah. In baseball, for example, if you hit the you know, a pitcher hits the batter, he gets a walk. He can just go and take a run, because you're not supposed to hit the pitcher or hit the batter, basically. But in cricket, you are supposed to. You can ball the ball at the batter. You can you can hit the batsman with a ball that bounces first. So you really need to be careful that you know, you are not hitting the batsman with a ball that is on the full.
Sure.
Yeah. Good,
That's
man.
Good, yeah. Good. We'll wrap.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody is saying Brett Lee used to bowl
exactly.
deliberate beamers. He felt that.
It always felt that. I mean, they pull him in the dugout. In fact, it's the most common thing that comes to mind, because it just seemed like a guy who was just bowling them way too often.
Yeah, there was a famous beamer he bowled at Tendulkar. He apologized right away.
He always apologized. He was very good with that.
That clip is there on cricket.com.au. He just goes and he apologizes. And the next ball, Tendulkar hits a straight drive right back at him. And I think, I don't know if it was Richie Beno on commentary, but that's a good passage of play that he wasn't shaken up. But yeah, I mean, Brett Lee is that kind of guy. वो तो पक्का apologize करेगा अगर उसने किया भी था.
Won't just apologize. He'll go squat with you and console you also. And he'll do that a lot. He's done that a lot. So we'll wrap then.
Cool, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for joining anyone on the chat. Do join us again, and if you can post questions, if you want us to talk about something specific, then just post it on Twitter. That's where you can find us.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.